On the 30th of July 2026, Eddie Howe stepped down as Newcastle United manager with just weeks to go before the start of the new Premier League season. It marks the end of an extraordinary 5-year spell in which he guided Newcastle from relegation troubles to Champions League qualification and ended the club's 70-year wait for a major domestic trophy. Normally, a managerial change at one club would dominate the headlines for days. But this summer, it almost feels routine. Because Newcastle have now joined a growing list of Premier League clubs beginning the season under new leadership recently. Chelsea, Manchester City, Liverpool, Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspur, and now, Newcastle United. And suddenly, almost half the Premier League is preparing to start the season with a new voice in the dressing room. Add to that Bournemouth, Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest, who have also changed managers recently. New ideas, tactics and expectations. And perhaps, an entirely new identity. For the first time in years, nobody really knows how some of England's biggest clubs are going to play. And that's exactly why this could become the most unpredictable Premier League season in recent memory. Let's begin with Chelsea. Chelsea have changed managers once again. And perhaps no club in the Premier League represents uncertainty more than they do. Despite spending well over £1 billion on transfers over the last few years, Chelsea are still searching for a settled footballing identity. Their squad is arguably one of the youngest in Europe, filled with technically gifted players who are comfortable in possession. But many of them are still developing both individually and collectively. The new manager Xabi Alonso now faces an enormous challenge. Does he continue building patiently from the back using a back three and structured positional play? Or does he recognize the pace and athleticism already in the squad and transform Chelsea into a far more vertical, transition-based side? The arrival of Morgan Rogers clearly adds another tactical dimension. He's capable of carrying the ball through midfield, attacking space between the lines and driving directly at defenders. That could encourage Chelsea to become much quicker in transition rather than dominating possession for long periods. But tactical systems aren't built overnight. Relationships between centre-backs, midfielders and forwards take months to develop. And until those patterns become second nature, nobody really knows what Chelsea will look like over a full Premier League season. Then there's Manchester City, perhaps the biggest tactical mystery in the entire league. For nearly a decade, Pep Guardiola redefined English football. Possession wasn't simply a style. It became Manchester City's identity. Patient build-up, positional rotations, numerical overloads, complete control of the football. But over the last 2 seasons, even Guardiola has quietly adapted. The arrival of Erling Haaland fundamentally changed the profile of City's attack. Instead of recycling possession endlessly, City became more willing to attack space early. Longer passes from deep, earlier crosses into the penalty area, quicker vertical combinations. They still dominated possession, but they no longer depended on it to create chances. Now, under Enzo Maresca, the biggest question isn't whether City will evolve. It's how far that evolution goes. Will they preserve Guardiola's positional play? Or continue moving toward a more direct and physically dominant style? Given how influential Manchester City have been over the last decade, the answer could shape the tactical direction of the entire Premier League. Liverpool are another fascinating case. For almost 9 years under Jurgen Klopp, their identity was unmistakable. Relentless pressing, high intensity, explosive transitions, winning the ball back within seconds. Under Andoni Iraola, however, Liverpool may evolve in a different direction. Iraola's teams are renowned for organized aggression. They press relentlessly but also adapt their positioning depending on the opposition. Unlike Klopp's more emotionally driven pressing game, Iraola often asks his players to be tactically flexible, choosing specific moments to press and specific areas to trap opponents. That makes Liverpool one of the most intriguing tactical projects in Europe. The ingredients already exist: fast attackers, energetic midfielders, aggressive fullbacks. But implementing an entirely new tactical framework at one of the world's biggest clubs isn't something that happens over a single pre-season. It could take months before Liverpool begin playing exactly how their new manager wants. Then there's Manchester United, perhaps the club under the greatest pressure to finally establish a recognizable football identity. Michael Carrick has made an encouraging start, bringing greater structure and control during his first few months in charge. His emphasis on ball retention, intelligent positioning and disciplined build-up has already started to improve United's performances. But the real challenge begins now. Unlike last season, United must balance domestic football with a demanding European campaign. That means more fixtures, more travelling, more squad rotation and more opportunities for injuries to disrupt momentum. Depth, not just quality, may determine whether Carrick's ideas survive the demands of a full season. Because while implementing a new philosophy is difficult, maintaining it across 50 or 60 matches is something else entirely. Tottenham are another fascinating story. Few clubs have experienced as much instability in such a short period. Having changed 3 managers since the beginning of last season, Spurs are once again trying to establish a long-term direction. Roberto De Zerbi arrives with one of the clearest footballing philosophies in Europe. His teams are brave in possession, comfortable inviting pressure and exceptionally good at manipulating opposition pressing structures before attacking through central areas. But philosophy alone doesn't guarantee success. Tottenham have also experienced significant squad turnover. New players, new combinations and new set of expectations. Teaching a completely new positional system while rebuilding the squad at the same time is an enormous challenge. Will Spurs continue entertaining football? Or will pragmatism eventually replace idealism? The answer may depend as much on their recruitment as coaching. And it's not just the traditional Big Six. Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest, Newcastle United. Several clubs across the Premier League have also appointed new managers. Each appointment brings fresh tactical ideas, different formations, recruitment strategies and different pressing systems. Some will build patiently from the back. Others will press aggressively. Some will rely on physicality. Others will prioritize possession. The result is something we rarely see in English football. Almost half the league entering the new season without an established tactical identity. And that's exactly what makes this campaign so difficult to predict. Ironically, the club entering the new Premier League season with the fewest question marks may well be Arsenal. For the last 4 seasons, Mikel Arteta has quietly built one of the most tactically complete teams in European football. Unlike many of their rivals, Arsenal aren't beginning another rebuild. They're refining one that already exists. Every signing has followed a clear philosophy. Every tactical adjustment has had a purpose. Each season has been another step in the evolution of the same project. Today, Arsenal can comfortably build from the back against the highest press in Europe. They can dominate possession through controlled positional play. They defend with vigor and tenacity not witnessed for a while. They've become one of the most dangerous teams from set pieces. And perhaps most importantly, they've learned how to win matches in different ways. There was a time when Arsenal were criticized for trying to score the perfect goal. That team doesn't exist anymore. Over the last 3 seasons, we've seen a far more mature side. One that's happy to defend a narrow lead, slow the tempo, control territory instead of chasing possession for its own sake and simply manage games. It's a trait normally associated with serial champions. While their rivals are asking fundamental questions about systems, formations and style of play, Arsenal are asking a very different one. How do we take the final step? That's why so many now consider them favourites for the title. Not only because they possess the league's strongest squad, but because they enter the season with something no other title contender currently enjoys: continuity. And in a league full of uncertainty, continuity could become the biggest competitive advantage of all. Of course, the managerial merry-go-round isn't the only reason this season feels impossible to predict. There are other stories quietly hanging over the Premier League, and each one has the potential to shape the campaign in very different ways. The biggest question probably surrounds Manchester City. For more than a decade, City have been the benchmark of English football. 6 Premier League titles in 7 seasons, multiple domestic trophies, and one of the most dominant footballing dynasties England has ever seen. But alongside their success, the club continues to face one of the biggest legal cases in Premier League history. Until that decision arrives, one of the biggest stories hanging over English football remains unresolved. Whether the eventual outcome changes anything immediately or not, the uncertainty itself has become part of this season's narrative. Then there are the newly promoted clubs. Every Premier League season produces at least one surprise. A club that nobody expected to survive suddenly finds itself comfortably competing with established sides. Last season, Sunderland proved exactly that. Playing fearless football, they refused to simply defend deep and hope for survival. Instead, they embraced their identity. This year, another newly promoted side could follow the same path. History tells us that promoted clubs often begin the season with something many established teams lack: momentum, belief, and tactical certainty. Unlike clubs changing managers, promoted teams usually arrive with a clearly defined playing style that has already been drilled into the squad over an entire championship campaign. For the first few months, that familiarity can become a significant advantage, especially against bigger clubs still trying to adapt to new systems and new managers. And perhaps that's what makes this Premier League season feel so unique. Almost every storyline carries uncertainty. The title race, the tactical evolution of the biggest clubs, the impact of newly promoted sides. Every weekend feels capable of producing a surprise. And that's before a single ball has even been kicked. For years, predicting the Premier League had become relatively easier. The same managers, tactical identities and title contenders. Not anymore. Maybe that's exactly what the Premier League needed. Not another tactical revolution, not another transfer record, just uncertainty. Only one thing is certain, the Premier League has never been more difficult to predict. And that's exactly what makes it the most exciting league in the world. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.